had just finished my initial military training and got sent to my first duty station. My unit was at NTC for pre-deployment training, so I met up with my rear echelon. I got issued my room and spent 3 very disturbing days/nights in the barracks with weird stuff happening, like gear not where I left it, locked drawers being open, and the microwave turning on by itself. Shit like that. My roommate, who I knew throughout the training, showed up on the 4th day, and I told him something along the lines of, "Watch your shit, someone's been fucking with my stuff and I don't know who." So the 4th night comes, and myself and my roommate secure our room and gear and go to bed. We have to be up at 5:30 a.m. for a PT, so it's an early night. We lock all of our stuff and go to bed. I wake up around 1 a.m. because my blanket had fallen to the ground and I was cold, which was weird because we are in the south in the summer and it's always hot. I hop down to get my blanket and I notice my armoire is open, so I open the lock, close it, lock it, and get back in my bed. I fell back asleep pretty easy, but I wake up again at 2:30 a.m. and all of my stuff and my roommate's stuff is thrown around the room. I wake up my roommate and he's pissed because someone is fucking with us and can't figure out who it is. We clean it up, lock our stuff, and go back to bed. Now I wake up for the 3rd time at 3:37 and we are not alone. I can hear my roommate snoring, so I know it's not him. I sat up and I saw someone in the little kitchenette area with the fridge open looking into it. I was freezing again. I was about to say something as the soldier turned around. My eyes had a moment to adjust to the bright light, and then I started recognizing gear, like the L-shaped flashlight on his shoulder, his Alice pack with magazine holders and canteens, boots. This dude was completely combat ready. As my eyes reached his face, he turned a bit, and I could see it. Half his head and helmet were gone, blown off by the looks of it. I'm scared shitless at this point. He closed the fridge and walked across the room, keeping his bright green eyes on me, opened my front door, and walked out. As he exited, he turned back around and said to me, "Be safe." I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I didn't wake up my roommate. I just sat up in bed for about 2 hours until I had to get ready for PT. As 6:30 rolls around, everyone is outside the barracks in formation getting ready to start PT, and the acting first sergeant says, "Hey, you good? Looks like you've seen a ghost." I reply with, "Negative, I'm fine. Good to go." About halfway through PT, he comes up to me and asks me what's wrong because I am visibly shaken up. I told him I was fine and just didn't get much sleep last night. A few others asked if I was okay, and I just lied and said I was fine. I mean, I really wasn't, and they could see it, but they let me be. After PT, the acting sergeant pulled me to the side and told me to speak freely, openly, with all confidentiality and off the record. What is wrong? I told him that if I told him what happened, he would think I'm batshit crazy. He assured me it was off the record and once again said, "Talk to me. You seriously look like you've seen a ghost." That got an awkward chuckle out of me, and I began to tell my story. When I got to the part about his head, the acting sergeant lost his shit. "Who the fuck put you up to this? This is not funny," etc., etc. He smoked me for about 30 minutes, made me do push-ups, mountain climbers, all that stuff, while yelling at me that I'm a piece of shit. Finally, after about 30 minutes of that, he says, "Look me in the eyes and swear on everything you love that you're not lying to me." I told him I was not lying. It fucking happened. So he says, "Follow me," and I do. We get to the command office, which I'd never been in, and they were obviously locked. He takes me behind 3 locked doors and 3 rooms I have never stepped foot in. Then he opens the last door, and I saw it. It gave me chills. It still gives me chills. But plain as day, there's the soldier's portrait behind the commander's desk. I froze and said, "That's him." The acting sergeant, the guy who assigned me that room, told me who he was. He was a corporal in the unit of my unit's first deployment to Iraq, and he died in an IED attack that took part of his head off. I was the first soldier to be assigned that room since it belonged to the deceased corporal. He forgave me and I forgave him, and he told me some stories about who this guy was. I deployed with that unit just a couple months later and spent 12 months fighting in that shithole. I nearly died I don't know how many times. My vehicle got hit with IEDs and rockets, and it always made me think of that corporal. I survived more things than most people can imagine, and I always felt like that corporal was keeping an eye out for me. Not everyone in my unit was as lucky as me. 3 of my company never got to come home.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Ah, yeah, I feel like hospitals and I guess like military, what are they called? Military places, encampments, not encampments.
No. Stations?
Military stations. I feel
I
like
don't know.
they have
Barracks.
like a lot of death surrounding them, so I feel like there's probably a ton of stories out there.
Imagine, like, how creepy do you
No.
think old European hospitals are that have been
Oh
around
my
for
God.
like 1,000 years in the same building? Like,
Yeah.
how creepy do you think those places are?
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to work there. I'm sure like a lot of just nurses, doctors, there's probably so many stories